From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Creature Guide Live Daily News. I will be handed random articles. Some will be funny and some will be more serious. So let's dive right into it and throw up the first article. Okay, so from goodnewsnetwork.org. Rarest monkeys now outnumber close to 2,000 thanks to one man's Jane Goodall like passion. Oh, that is not, gotta be honest. Jane Goodall's work, she's a primatologist. She's done a lot of research on chimpanzees. I think portions of different species of gorillas and possibly bonobos, but I wouldn't say I like the person. Just continuously attacks people. From
Don't you get that a lot?
yeah, I mean most. Well, I wouldn't say most. I'd say a bit less these days, but um, many renowned scientists unfortunately just attack people. From the BBC comes the story of an intrepid and dedicated scientist who has spent decades working in China's mountain forests in an effort to protect and understand one of the nation's most amazing animals, the golden sub-nosed monkey. Sub-nosed or snub-nosed? Is revered alongside the giant panda as national treasures of Chinese wildlife. Yet, this couldn't protect them from logging and hunting that followed in the wake of Mao's Cultural Revolution. It's been a little while since then, but members of this I'm just saying for the possibly, increase in population of these monkeys. Members of this subspecies located in the UNESCO-listed Shennongyha Mountains of Hubei province were the subject of intense study by Professor Yang Hingwan, research ecologist who arrived in these mountains in 1991. For Yang, the golden sub-nosed monkey was Jane Goodall's chimpanzees. By the time Yang arrived in Shenanghua, the population had collapsed to just 500 or so individuals across six family groups. Years of illegal logging as a form of subsistence living had reduced forest coverage in the mountains to 63%. But before Yang could protect the animals, he had to first learn to understand them. With his research colleagues, he began striking out into the newly created Chinangha Forest Reserve to study these incredible animals. The monkeys were at first so wary of humans that Yang and his team had to stay half a mile away to be able just to observe the monkeys in their habitat. That must be extremely challenging having to consistently just watch them with binoculars or um, possibly another tool. Eventually, though, with repeated encounters, half a mile became a quarter a mile, and a quarter mile became to 100 yards, 100 yards, 20 yards, until Yang and whoever he brought with him were accepted by the troops. BBC's China correspondent Stephen McDonnell experienced this treatment as baby monkeys and curious juveniles climbed all over him on a visit to special 100 square kilometer monkey zones hat are off limits to the hundreds of thousands of visitors who come to enjoy a mountain ecosystem that is without exaggeration unique in the world. So, let's see. These might be out in the wild. They are quite arboreal and they live in much more northern zones compared to most species of monkeys. Like it's especially in the winter, they're just covered in snow. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is really nice dark forest. There were also people secretly hunting here to survive. It was only after a long period of building awareness that the consciousness of local farmers changed. In the 1990s, with a shifting focus from forestry to forest conservation, local residents eking out this subsistence living were offered government money to relocate so that the forest could regrow. I got a feeling I wasn't friendly. Many accepted the offer and now benefit from the tourism boom the mountains are experiencing. There's no place on Earth that has greater biodiversity of deciduous woody plants than Shenandoah, a dizzying 3,400 higher order plant species and over 600 invertebrates have been recorded there. The golden snub-nosed, I figured it was misspelled, snub-nosed monkey is very much a fuzzy golden cherry on top of a biodiverse cake 10 layers high. Very optimistic. Their home is now very well protected. They have food and drink, no worries about life's necessities, and most of all, their numbers are growing. So, let's see, is there another picture? No. Okay, so that's just one of the troops roaming. Indeed, an archive report from Xinhua claimed that those 500 remnant individuals became 1,200 by 2013. This represents major progress since females give birth to only one baby at a time. At the time McDonald visited, their numbers had jumped again to 1,600, and forest cover along the hills and valleys had increased to around 96% of the reserve's total area. Well, that's good to hear. So let's see. He speaks to them in their calls, having learning the meanings of each vocalization during his many years of observing them. And okay, so let's see. Um, interesting. So each monkey has an egg timer like understanding of its lifespan. And when it's time to pass away, they silently leave their families behind and visit special secluded areas to die alone in the forest. Okay, that's weird. According to Yang, there hasn't been like, I was expecting they were gonna fight for something, the monkeys are gonna die in
That
battle, and
was funny though, when you did
instead it's
that.
like, eh. There hasn't been a single successful attempt to find these sites either by researchers or rangers. Yang's institute estimates that the monkeys will come to number 2,000 individuals in Shanghai sometime over the next 10 years, a testament to the magnificent outcomes conservation can provide. Okay, so or those monkeys. Yeah, it's good to hear that they're doing much better in this reserve over in China. So I hope they keep increasing population as well as the ecosystem continues to recover. But so far, it does look like the forest has made a uh, very positive impact. So let's go to the next article. Some weird grammar in that, though. Okay, so from the dailygalaxy.com, buried for just 325 million years. So this is dating to the middle Carboniferous period. Two new sea monsters just emerged from the depths of the world's largest cave. Well, this is interesting to hear considering we tend to just hear much more about terrestrial animals or land dwelling animals when it comes to the Carboniferous period and not so much the sea life, which is interesting because in the Devonian, the previous period, so around 360 million years ago, there's a lot of talk about the different sea life, probably because there was much more compared to the land. The Carboniferous experienced an explosion of land life. So while fossil discoveries often capture the public imagination, okay, you didn't exist. Okay, so in the pitch black corridors of Mammoth Cave National Park, deep beneath Kentucky's rolling hills, scientists have uncovered something astonishing.
Hold up. So they put a shark there.
Yep, it didn't exist back then. Let's see. The now certain families of sharks that exist today did exist during the Carboniferous period, but specifically this species, I don't think so. Let's see. The fossilized remains of two never before seen prehistoric shark species, entombed in limestone for over 325 million years. These ancient predators have resurfaced with a startling level of preservation. Okay, so let's keep going. Announced as part of the National Park Service's paleontological resource inventory, the find is more than just a curiosity. It sheds light on an era when North America was submerged under a tropical inland sea, a vast waterway teeming with ancient life, much of which remains unknown. These fossils are not only remarkably intact, but they also challenge what we thought we knew about early shark evolution. They offer clues about species diversity, predator behavior, and how marine ecosystems functioned long before the first dinosaurs appeared. The dinosaurs wouldn't evolve for another 90 to 95 million years. So it's quite some time. You did have large species of proto-mammal carnivores evolving beforehand, and you also had certain species of crocodilomorph or crocodile-like land-dwelling predators. Quite quick too. The two species have been named Troglocladodus trembli and Glycmanius carforum, and they belong to the extinct group of sharks known as Ctenacants. So I believe this is very distant from the coelacanths. Unlike modern sharks, Ctenacants sported comb-shaped dorsal spines, possibly for defense or display, and show no direct lineage to any contemporary species. So let's see if we can go down.
So, is there anything interesting here?
Well, so far, I mean, yeah, they found two species of shark. Let's see. Oh, okay, here they are. Yeah, these guys. Okay, I've seen them before. Very nice. How big are they? I don't know what that is. Reconstruction of the new sharks in Mammoth Cave National Park in northern Alabama.
It looks like a ghost from a cartoon.
Yeah, so this would have been northern Alabama, the Carboniferous. Um, yeah, somewhat. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is it a marshmallow man?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I have no idea. Wait a second. Gilkmanius carforum. Okay, he just swims in the background with two. Okay. No, it's not saying who he is. Okay, let's keep going. So, Trichlocladius trembli, the smaller of the two, measured roughly 3.5 meters in length and featured forked teeth. So that's somewhere around 11 and a half feet. So let's see. Indicating a unique hunting strategy likely suited to soft-bodied prey or rapid ambushes. Its cousin, Glycmanus carforum, is thought to have been more aggressive, with a crushing bite capable of snapping through bone and even the hard shells of orthocones. So these are distant relatives of different species of cephalopods, such as the ammonites, which evolved shortly beforehand during the Devonian, but that's a relative term. I'm talking at least 30 million years prior. And as well as different species of squid today, they're even more distantly related, though, as well as the nautilus. Octopi to an extent. So let's see. An extinct group of squid-like mollusks. So a digital rendering released by the National Park Service based on the fossil data and anatomical comparisons depicts Glycmanius gliding through the water while two Troglocladus patrol above. Uh, I think that's what we were just looking at.
Why does that thing make me want a cup of coffee with some chocolate?
What?
The chocolate.
Troglodytes. Oh, Trogo. I don't know.
Makes me
Maybe.
want chocolate.
Hmm. Maybe there's a certain species of plant that has that distinct Latin name too. The setting of the discovery is no less remarkable than the fossils themselves. Mammoth Cave is the largest cave system on Earth, stretching over 676 kilometers through layers of ancient limestone. Is it really? I'd have to double check that. Its stable, low oxygen environment helped preserve the remains in stunning detail. Ribs, spines, and even some fine scale features survived the test of geological time. According to the National Park Service Fossil Inventory, this preservation is what makes the cave system a critical site for ongoing paleontological research. The broader program, created under the Paleontological Resources Preservation Act, has cataloged fossils in over 270 national parks. Okay, this isn't really. Okay, so the fossil bearing rocks in Mammoth Cave date to the Mississippian subperiod of the Carboniferous, a time when sea levels were high and the area that would become Kentucky was part of a vast tropical archipelago. Shallow seas linked what are now North America, Europe, and North Africa, forming an ecosystem rich with sharks, mollusks, and early coral reefs. So, I think it's pretty much it. Hold on a second. So, as tectonic plates shifted and Pangea began to take shape, these marine habitats gradually vanished.
Take
Once
shake.
said shake? Oh, shape. So, what remains today are isolated geological formations like those in northern Alabama and central Kentucky that recorded the last traces of those vanished seas. One previous find in the same region, documented by the Journal of Paleontology, included a 330 million-year-old shark rivaling a great white shark in size. I really wonder who this is. Together with the new discoveries, they underscore the region's importance for understanding shark evolution. Okay. Well, besides that, it's good to hear that we found some more medium-sized species of sharks within the region. So it's good to see. So let's head on to the next article.
Okay, you might like this one, or you might have preferred to do it as a full article, but let's see.
Did we not? I think we covered this like in another.
This?
Yeah, yeah. We
Oh, I didn't remember doing this. No?
no. Okay, so let's see what goes on here.
Am I like on a shark binge here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit. So, from news.mongabay.com, a long lost white shark tag traces remarkable journey from South Africa to Southeast Asia. I bet he's probably just trying to avoid the orcas whenever possible. So, let's see. The discovery of a satellite tag from a subadult female white shark in Indonesia marks the first recorded connectivity of a white shark movement or of white shark movement between South Africa and Southeast Asia. The white sharks found in South Africa and Australia belong to different genetic pools, which makes the two populations distinct from one another, even though they share the same migratory route. The biggest threats facing white sharks in South Africa and Indonesia are unsustainable fishing. White sharks, you don't need mass fishing. There's only somewhere between 4,000 to 8,000 of them on Earth. So let's see. Shoo. Okay. So in May 2012, a satellite transmitter was attached to a subadult female white shark by Oshirch as part of its shark expeditions in Gans Bay, a fishing town in Western Cape, South Africa. 12 years and 37,178 kilometers, or 23,101 miles later, a fisherman in Indonesia handed over the tag to Project Who, a local NGO. The tag belonged to a shark named Alicia, whose long journey had ended in 2016 in the long line gear of the fisherman in East Lombok, where she was originally misidentified as a mako shark. How do you misidentify? Okay, maybe she was a smaller great white shark, or um, she had quite a narrow snout compared to a mako. How do you mistake that? Sounds like you just wanted to eat it. Um. Anyway, in 2024, when the fisher finally handed over the tag, it triggered an international effort to recover and identify the tag, providing information for conservationists about the distance a shark can travel. Well, specifically this shark. There are many species of sharks, especially sand sharks. Certain species, they don't travel really very far at all. Alicia's journey also became the first documented movement of a white shark between South Africa and Southeast Asia, which was recorded in this paper published in June. You've never really seen a shark displaced so far. Let's see. So, by Dylan Arian, noting that Alicia traveled a lot farther than another female shark called P12 that made a similar journey from South Africa to Australia in 2004, completing a round trip migration of more than 20,000 kilometers or 12,400 miles.
What was the name of
Wow.
that cougar in LA?
P22.
Oh, okay.
So, but they might have, or cougar, whoever named the cougar, possibly it was off of this. But the thing is that that's interesting. I haven't heard of these long migrations made by great whites. I've heard of long migrations by orcas, but we're talking about a large mammal. Um, but this is quite interesting. So, Arian told Mangabe that Alicia's journey was remarkable not just for the distance she traveled, but also because she passed through different habitats. The cold, temperate waters off South Africa to the warm, tropical waters in Mozambique, Madagascar, and eventually Indonesia. Yeah, great white sharks have the ability to deal with a variety of different water or climates due to the fact that they can regulate their body temperature.
Oh, I always
And
forget you told me that.
yeah, many species of shark they are cold-blooded, but great whites, on the other hand, they're not. There's certain other species that can regulate their body temperature as well. So I'm guessing this is the tag. Yeah. The fisher had kept the satellite tag of Alicia, the great white shark, for 8 years. I guess I remember mentioning that earlier.
It's always
Okay.
nice when I know something I'm looking at and you don't. Ha!
Globally, white sharks are divided into three groups: the Mediterranean, Indo-Pacific Oceans. Okay, so Australia and California. That I haven't heard of. Um, wait, Australian Cal the Mediterranean's between North Africa and Southern Europe. Okay, that's confusing. Northwest Atlantic and Indian Ocean, and a single divergent group restricted to South Africa. The fact that they traveled from South Africa to Southeast Asia and Australia tells us a great deal of their migratory route. But even that does not necessarily mean they travel there to breed. Let's see. The paper also states that historically there have been
Maybe they're
few.
looking for those emperor penguins that like to travel across the seas.
Oh, like yeah, that one that headed to Australia last year. So let's see. Um, there have been few documented sightings of white sharks in Southeast Asia, let alone in Indonesia. However, because the fisher had misidentified Alicia as a longfin mako shark, researchers started considering the possibilities of other instances of misidentification and that perhaps there may be more occurrences of white sharks in Indonesian waters. Let's see. The misidentification explained by my principal researcher at Indonesia's Research Center for Oceanography, National Research and Innovation Agency, known as BRIN, was due to the absence of information for identifying white sharks within the guidebook used in shark catching recording programs. Um, Out of all the sharks, still though, I just find it kind of a bit odd. I mean, I can understand if the person had absolutely no knowledge of sharks. I mean, it does happen, but I don't know. That seems funny. Oftentimes, the people who are doing the identification are not well trained. Um, okay, well, maybe certain places.
Huh?
Is
What
this
am I
an
looking?
actual picture?
Um,
One of the tiger sharks that was being tagged and tracked by Project Who. Shark tagging can help provide real time data regarding their movement and dispersal. This, in turn, can provide insights into certain aggregation sites and to better protect them, especially in Indonesian waters. Um, I think, according to what was happening earlier, the tags really aren't helping. Um, Anyway, in South Africa, the biggest threat says depleting white shark populations is unsustainable shark fishing. Okay. Let's see.
does anybody have anything to say about this shark?
Let's see. Okay, this is all very sad. Are they dead? Jeez. Okay.
Well, between YouTube and Rumble, we had a few
Let's
people,
see.
and then some jumped off.
Um,
Maybe they were afraid they were going to get eaten by the shark.
maybe are the people themselves. In 2023, more than 600 sharks were saved by repurposing shark fishing vessels. Wow, that's actually quite astonishing. Huh.
Does that mean
That's
people weren't catching them anymore?
um. Well, I guess they saved them by or
Yeah, they stopped fishing for the sharks.
yeah.
Okay.
I think this might be it. Okay, well, that the journey of, I think, Alicia, the great white shark was quite astonishing. But let's head on to the next article.
Okay, this looks interesting. I just read the titles.
Okay. From phys.org, first ever documented case of a plant mimicking ants to attract pollinators. Well, this is a high IQ'd plant. Let's take a look at this. So the grass fly visiting the flowers and kleptoparasiting spider hunting an ant. Oh, oh, very nice. So Ko Mochizuki at the University of Tokyo has discovered that Vince toxicum nakayanum, a dog-bane species native to Japan, described for the first time by Mochizuki and his collaborators only a year ago, mimics the smell of ants attacked by spiders. This scent attracts flies that feed on these injured insects and pollinate the flowers in the process. This is the first case of a plant mimicking the odor of ants, revealing that the scope of floral mimicry is more diverse than previously imagined. Hmm. Grass flies are attracted to the smell of injured ants. As they move from flower to flower in search of already injured prey, they also do flowers a great service. They pollinate them. Because ants are one of the most widespread species in ant mimicry has independently evolved in many invertebrate species, it stands to reason that plants could have also evolved to mimic ants in one way or another. However, in such cases have never been reported. I was working on another research project and originally collected this species only as a reference for. Let's see, I just get that down. Comparison. By chance, I noticed chloropid flies gathering around its flowers in the nursery in the Koishikawa Botanical Gardens and immediately realized that the flowers might be imitating dead insects. This recognition was thanks to a string of thus far unrelated experiences. His participation in an intensive training course in 2019 helped him recognize the fly species swarming the flower. He also happened to be familiar with some previous studies that described plants pollinated by chloropid flies emitting odors resembling those of insects. So this is the flower.
Can we click on
Yeah, seems suspicious.
it?
Following his hunch, Mochizuki set out to methodically observe the visitors on these flowers and compare the odors released by the flowers to odors released by various kinds of insects. He found that the smell of ants being attacked by spiders was the closest match. Wow, interesting. It makes you really wonder about plants, well as other defense mechanisms that plants have, but this is more of an attractant. And how much do they really understand of the natural world around them?
Well,
That's pretty astonishing.
what does it exactly do that the carnivorous plants, the
Oh, yeah, those other specific species, I can't dive into that very much. However, his hypothesis of ant mimicry was standing on frail legs. There had not been any official publications of chloropide flies or any other similar fly species, targeting ants hunted and injured by other animals such as spiders. So Mochizuki turned to social media for more unconventional evidence. There he found many amateur naturalists documenting what he had suspected: ants attacked by spiders, which then attracted kleptoparasitic or organisms that steal food from another, flies. This gave him confidence to test the hypothesis behaviorally and confirm whether chloropid flies were indeed more attracted to the smell of ants attacked by spiders than to other smells. That moment when I saw the flies on the flowers was truly one of inspiration. So let's see. I think it's pretty much done. Okay. Well, this was quite interesting, especially what the plant is capable of, as well as interesting, spiders hunting the ants. But definitely the plants, that was quite unique. They're very smart. Okay, so let's head over to the next article.
I know I've put a lot up about water, but
Okay, so let's see. Okay, from Earth.com. Let's see. Fish that live in the ocean's twilight zone are the missing links between sharks and their prey. Large sharks spend long stretches in the deep midwater twilight zone of the ocean, the mesopelagic zone between 650 and 3,300 feet, in search of other fish to eat. That layer holds enormous animal biomass, and an open ocean analysis suggested it may be far higher than earlier estimates. Well, there's only been so much research done in the deep blue. The big scale pomfret, Pteridophytus longinus, sits right in the middle of this action. It is not tiny plankton and not a top predator, yet it may carry energy up and down the water column every single day. New WHOI research tracked big scale pomfret using satellite telemetry, revealing how they move through the midwater. Lead author Martin Arostigai, a research associate at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, directed the tagging effort alongside collaborators at sea. The data shows big scale pomfret are permanent residents of the ocean twilight zone and follow the pattern of deal migration. I do not know what the pomfrets are. Does it show us a picture?
What was that? No.
Wait a second. Maybe it's better up top. Oh, that's worse. And say what?
No, it's showing the as you go down.
Yeah, but maybe you mentioned that smaller picture, like the levels of the ocean. It's not showing. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Where were we? Okay. The Twilight Zone is a low light band that sits below the sunlit surface, and many midwater animals move within it every 24 hours in behavior called vertical migration. This daily movement is a widely observed pattern that helps animals feed while balancing the risk of being seen. Big scale pomfret followed that rhythm in the new work. They stayed deep by day, then rose towards shallower waters at night to hunt. The vertical swings covered hundreds of feet. Those shifts lined up with the idea that animals often track a preferred light level while they commute. These commuters do not stay put in one spot either. The tags recorded movements across different water masses, which set the stage for a second surprise. So, light penetration can reset where midwater life spends its time. And earlier work showed that clear water can push the deep scattering layer deeper. The Pomfret data echo that idea as fish cross from the Slope Sea and into the clearer Sargasso Sea. Fish choices changed when water conditions shifted. That likely altered which prey fish could reach and which predators could reach them. So, let's see. Yeah, let's go to another one. Whatever. I guess I'll later check what the pomfret is. I wonder if it's one of those large toothed fish,
Okay, you might like this one.
the light bulb fish. Okay, from livescience.com, fossil of huge penguin that lived 3 million years ago, discovered in New Zealand. What happened to it? The newly discovered penguins went extinct when the ice age hit. This is about could be around 1 million years before the Ice Age or the Pleistocene epoch started. This was at the end of the Pliocene epoch. But researchers don't think the cold was to blame for the demise. So you did have animals like the giant shark Otodus megalodon inhabiting the ocean at this time. So let's see. 3 million years ago, an extinct relative of today's great penguins, emperors, and king penguins lived in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We know this because our new study describes a spectacular fossilized skull of a great penguin found on the Tarakani coast. Overall, it is 31% longer than the skull of an emperor penguin, Eptinodus forsteri. which can be more than a meter tall and weigh upwards of 35 kilograms. If it's referring to the emperor penguins can get up to 4 foot 11. It's rare, but they can. And they can weigh upwards of like 45 kilograms, so around 100 pounds. So let's see.
Did you just start off with kilograms?
It happens. It's a lot of weight here. Compared to emperor penguins, however, the Taranaki great penguin had a much stronger and longer beak. It probably looked more like a king penguin, only much bigger. At the time, the world was warmer than today, but when the climate cooled, this penguin vanished. We argue the cold wasn't to blame because crested and little penguins in New Zealand weathered the same change and remained. Great penguins shifted south and today live in the frozen wastes of Antarctica. So let's see. The fossil skull on top of the great extinct penguin in its estimated original shape, in comparison with skulls from a king penguin in the middle and emperor penguin on the bottom. So it seems to be that the emperor penguin, looking at the main skull itself, is more heavily built than this extinct Pliocene penguin. The king penguin is seems to be the least of the 3. However, the emperor and the king penguin, at least by what we have of the extinct penguin, seem to have larger brains, I'm
Well,
guessing. Just
is it
brain
possible
case.
though that it's just degraded?
It could be, but definitely looking at the, shape of the beak, it was much more robust than either 2 penguins. So, this animal would have
Or you're
definitely,
saying the prehistoric one is more robust?
at least in terms of the beak, it doesn't look like so much the skull, but I could be wrong. Well, I think so compared to the emperor, but maybe that's just simply the brain case. Anyway, this looks like a formidable predator. The sediments that now form beachside cliffs in South Taranaki were deposited at a time when global temperatures were about 3 degrees Celsius above those of the pre-industrial era. Fossils, why do they always use that? Fossils from this period are transforming our understanding of how biodiversity might respond to rising temperatures. Uh, Um, yeah, we have records of temperature changes for thousands, and some cases more, like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. I mean, depending on where you're looking at certain sediments, you can be looking at hundreds of millions of years back and identify, or at least come up with an estimate of what the climate might have been. Everybody compares it with the 1800s or now. For example, Aotearoa was home to boxfish and monk seals, both of which are still subtropical species today. In a strange contradiction, they coexisted with great penguins, now only found in much colder climates in ancient New Zealand. Northernmost breeding colonies of king penguins today are around latitude 46.1 degrees south in the subantarctic Crozet Islands, where seawater temperatures reach 3 to 10 degrees Celsius. From there, it only gets colder towards the higher latitudes where emperor penguins live. Wow. Okay, so that is in northern New Zealand where the fossil of Aptin, Aptenodytes, Patagonacatus, and then oh wait, oh, it's just another species of that distinct genus. That wasn't hitting me. Wow. Okay, this thing was massive. At least a massive, not necessarily emperor or king, but a very close cousin. Let's see. 3 million years ago, Aotearoa's great penguins extended as far north as 40.5 degrees south, where South Taranaki was located then. They foraged in waters that were 20 degrees Celsius, much warmer than their relatives experienced today. This balmy existence ended with the Pleistocene ice ages around 2.58 million years ago. Ice extent and sea level shifted back and forward as temperatures fluctuated and ultimately um, reshedded downwards. But why would such cooling eradicate giant penguins, which thrive under polar conditions today, from New Zealand? But I believe it was much warmer, though. Fossil evidence for giant penguins in Aotearoa is limited, and the exact reasons for their demise remain unclear. Even so, their sheer presence suggests they were less constrained by sea surface temperatures than previously thought. another mechanism must be at play. Up until about 500 years ago, our area was the hunting ground of the giant Haas eagle and the huge Forbes harrier. These were big raptors or um, birds of prey. That's what they're referred to as. They included large birds like moa in their diet. Their ancestors arrived from Australia inside the last 3 million years. Based on what we see with living great penguins, the Taranaki great penguin almost certainly formed large exposed colonies along the coast. These could have been easy targets for a giant eagle or harrier hunting from the air. By contrast, the smaller penguins still found in Aotearoa today have more cryptic breeding behavior. They nest in burrows, natural crevices, and dense vegetation, tend to cross beaches at night, which may have helped them avoid aerial predators. So, let's see. It's being a little redundant. Okay, well, it's nice to take a look at the giant penguin in this region, and never really gave a size on the height though. Weight. Anyway, let's go to the next article.
Okay, this next one I picked for that was weird. For the name of the crabs. What keeps happening?
Okay, from Earth.com, Barbie crabs, sea pigs, and 40 new species discovered in a giant underwater canyon. I see. Wow. Wait, those those aren't the are those the crabs? Or is that what they're calling a certain species of just another type of organism?
I think I think that's what they're calling the crab.
An Argentine research team just finished a first of its kind look into the Mar del Plata Canyon, deep South Atlantic gorge that drops to about 11,500 feet. Wow, that is deep. They used a robot to see habitats that nets could only hint at, and the footage held a nation's attention. Viewers watched coral fields, rare invertebrates, and odd creatures glide through the dark. Early counts suggest around 40 organisms may be new to science, a list that spans anemones, sea cucumbers, sea urchins, snails, and crinoids. So, crinoids, they look like plants, but they're their own group of organisms, or they belong to a different kingdom. Let's see, the expedition, let's see, it explored a canyon about 186 miles off the uh,
I have no idea what's causing that.
off the coastal city of Mar del Plata, with the deepest points beyond 3,500 meters, which is more than 2 miles. The team used a remotely operated vehicle, the ROV, that pilots control from the ship through a tether. It carries high definition cameras, lights, manipulator arms, samplers, and sensors that work in cold, high pressure water. It was a huge surprise for us. It's something across Argentina. The live stream drew more than 1.6 million daily views and often 50,000 simultaneous watchers. Didn't hear about this. A submarine canyon is a steep river like cut in the seafloor that channels sediments and organic matter from the shelf into the deep. These corridors can create sharp changes in terrain and currents that concentrate food and shelter. Mar del Plata Canyon lies where two major currents meet in the Brazil Malvinas confluence. One current brings warm, salty water from the north, while the other carries cold, nutrient rich water from the south. That meeting zone is one of the most energetic places in the South Atlantic. Eddies spin, temperatures shift quickly, and boundaries form that help structure which species can live where. BBC Wildlife Report describes the stony coral reef of Bathelia candida around 3,330 feet down and a broad field of red Anthomastus soft corals near 4,920 feet. Those coral structures create habitat that other animals use for shelter and feeding. The stony coral Bathelia candida is an accepted species in the family Oculinidae. Its skeleton adds three-dimensional structure to the seafloor and can support dense communities. Animals recorded including shimmering squids, deep sea lobsters, and sea pigs. a type of sea cucumber that trundles over the mud. A bright orange sea star drew public comparisons to a cartoon character because of its shape and color. I'm guessing that's the one from like maybe Finding Nemo on the tank glass. The one I can think of. Finding an organism that looks new is only the start. Okay. That is so. Let's see. Is there anything else?
I think the
Mm,
article's titled better than it turned out.
yeah. Well, never know. Well, maybe eventually, but I do not know what it was showing on the title picture. Anyway, let's head over to the next article. Okay, this is interesting. So, from WJFW.com, 6 bear hunting dogs killed in wolf attacks over weekend. Department of Natural Resources confirms. Where did this occur? Uh, are we going to see any bear footage? Oh,
Mm.
it's not moving. What on earth? Oh, what's he? Oh, that's annoying. I hate it when they do that. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Yeah, but is oh come on.
it's the same video, I think.
Yeah, it's probably from. Where's that?
I don't. It's going to come. No, it's just arbitrary footage.
Okay, so Rhinelander, Wisconsin. 6 bear hunting dogs were killed in wolf attacks in northern Wisconsin over the weekend, according to the Department of Natural Resources. The incident happened one day apart in Longleat County. Let's say Wisconsin DNR Assistant Wolf Specialist Danielle Deming said both investigations confirmed wolves were responsible. On Friday, the morning of September 26th, a large group of bear hunters, so going after black bears, released their bear hunting dogs to pursue 2 bears. The group of dogs split up and encountered a wolf pack in pursuit of the bears. The dog owners had noticed their dogs' GPS collars had stopped moving on the receiver, so they followed the dogs' trails into the woods, only to discover 3 of the dogs had been killed and 2 were injured at one site. In a nearby site about 900 yards away, they discovered 2 more hunting dogs had been killed.
Is this like wolves saying "Don't mess with our bears"?
Um, or the bears are for us because wolves will hunt usually young black bears. They don't tend to go after adults. If they are attacking adults, it's because they're too close to probably their own pups. So let's see. Likely these events happened simultaneously. It was all on county forest near Ackley Wildlife Area, which is a typical bear hunting area. Wildlife services investigated and confirmed wolves were responsible based on puncture wounds, tracks, and hair found at the sites. Wow, that was quick. It's almost the wolves must have known that they were coming, and they just set up an ambush. The next day, about 15 miles north near Elko, another group of hunters lost a dog in a separate incident, and they started targeting everybody.
Wait, bear hunting dogs? I thought the only bear hunting dogs were Akitas.
No, there's actually a wide range of different breeds.
So how many of them could stand up against wolves?
Oh, well, I mean, depending on the size of the packs, and also Wisconsin wolves are not small. They can get to over 120 pounds. So yeah, I don't know. So let's see. A different group of bear hunters let out one bear hunting dog to pursue a bear. After seeing the GPS collar had stopped moving as well, the hunter was able to respond in about 5 minutes because it was near the road. The hunter discovered the one dog deceased. Wow. Investigators again confirmed wolves were to blame. Deming said the Friday incidents likely involved the same pack, while the Saturday attack was a different territory and likely a different pack altogether. Almost like the other packs in the area knew. Let's see. Deming said depredations like these often occur when hounds run through Rendevis sites. Oh, okay. Well, places where wolves keep their pups once they are too big for dens. It's really important to distinguish these incidents that happen with hunting dogs during a bear hunt, not pet dogs near residences. I mean, you can have dogs in suburban areas that will still get targeted by possibly just a bold wolf pack or coyotes for sure. Attacks generally occur when wolves are defending pups at a Rendevis site. She added that these Rendevis sites are usually deep in the woods, harder for people to access, but easy for hunting dogs to stumble upon while trailing bears. Deming emphasized that the risk to household pets is far lower. I think anything can be a household pet, but I guess she's referring to like chihuahuas or something.
We have possums that are now people's pets.
Yeah. Um, we've never had a wolf attack on a person in Wisconsin. Wow, really? Huh. But wolves can see dogs as a threat. That's interesting. Never. She recommended motion sensor lights, keeping pets leashed or under good recall, and avoiding letting dogs roam freely in forested areas. Let's see. Beyond the incidences, hmm. So pup survival is actually about 40% in the Great Lakes when it comes to wolves. That's not bad. They definitely have a plentiful supply of food. Oh, mostly going after white-tailed deer, very small elk and moose populations in certain parts of the areas in the Great Lakes. Towards like northern parts, especially as you head into Minnesota and the upper peninsula of Michigan, they're much more common. But besides that, this was weird, interesting, but uh, odd. You know, poor dogs, but I'm glad to I'm glad the wolves are okay, but poor dogs. Anyway, let's go to the next article. I do like hounds. Okay, from the Los Angeles Times, two mountain lions that were found malnourished and alone as cubs are released back into the wild. That's really good to hear. So they arrived at the San Diego Humane Society's Ramona Wildlife Center. Two mountain lions that were orphaned as cubs have been released back into the San Diego County wilderness. I forget that San Diego has wilderness. Technically, it's outside of the city. So, yeah, San Diego doesn't. The cubs, which were found malnourished earlier this year, were trapped by the UC Davis California Carnivores Program and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, according to the San Diego Humane Society. They were taken to the organization's Ramona Wildlife Center on March 26th for specialized rehabilitation and veterinary care. Human interaction was kept to a minimum through the rehabilitation process to familiarize the cubs with natural hunting behaviors and habitat, said Angela Hernandez Cusick, wildlife supervisor at the center. Let's see. That could be anything from the way we work with them day in and day out to providing visual barriers. We're monitoring them regularly, but we have to get really creative on how we move forward. The mountain lions were released on September 18th without human attachments to speak of. Wow, they actually kept them for some time. We actually don't name our patients just because, there comes that attachment. Wow, you didn't name them at all. You didn't even give them like a P34 or something. Um, or Fred. We actually don't name. I already said that. Wild mountain lions face constant risks in California, including yeah, vehicles are a pretty big one. Oh yeah, I forget about the fires. Yeah, I would say California mountain lions have it pretty hard, especially in the southern region of the state. We certainly. Okay. Is there anything else? Huh. So last year, the California Mountain Lion Project, a research effort headed by academics and environmentalists, revealed that previous projections of the wild mountain lion population in California were incorrect. Instead of 6,000, researchers estimate the population significantly lower, between 3,200 and 4,500. I wonder if a portion of this, not so much habitat degradation at this point, but the simply dying because of the wildfires that occur, or maybe lack of water in certain areas, very basic causes of death.
Well,
So,
California seems to like to cut off its water, so
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so that was it. Well, I hope these two, um, make it to adulthood and end up having cubs of their own. So, and yeah, they're able to hunt plenty of mule deer. So,
okay, so this one looks interesting.
let's head over to the next one. This is weird. IFLscience.com. Perfectly mummified cheetahs are the first naturally mummified big cats ever found. Hmm. The oldest dates back over 4,000 years. Where they find this? Egypt. Since back then, you were there were cheetahs roaming Egypt, 4 or 5,000 years ago.
How long
Um,
have they been around?
Cheetahs themselves, they've been around for over like 20,000 years. But, something happened around 11,000 years ago, and unfortunately, there were only a handful of individuals, yet they survived. But that's why, many of them are quite inbred. But they've been still able to cling on compared to many other animals tend to die when that occurs. Anyway, let's see. So it was in Saudi Arabia. Oh, okay. So maybe the Asiatic cheetah. Cheetahs were once widespread across the Arabian Peninsula, but have lost around 98% of their original historic range. Inside the cave, part of the Lagha Cave network in northern Saudi Arabia, the team found the remains of 7 naturally mummified cheetahs, alongside skeletons amounting to 54 more individuals, as well as examples of their prey. Wow, were there 54? Wait a second. There were 61 cheetahs in this cave system. Jeez. The oldest specimen of skeletal remains found in the cave was thought to be approximately 4,223 years old, when the youngest dated to 127 years old as a preserved mummy. Um, there have been certain people that use cheetahs to hunt down rabbits. So maybe these were buried by people. The two oldest samples are more closely related to the northwestern African cheetah subspecies, Echinonyx jubatus hecki, while other samples show a closer genetic relationship to the Asiatic cheetah, Echinonyx jubatus venaticus, which survives in a critically endangered population in Iran. Honestly, I think they should take the cheetahs out of Iran and just stick them in South Africa. Add a little more genetics, since there could be as few as like 30 to 50 cheetahs left in Iran. And I think they should just be taken out of there and sent to, well, either India or South Africa. But it depends on the elevation too. You don't want to take an animal that's inhabiting a lower elevation to a higher elevation, because the shock from that usually kills the animal. Or if it's from a higher to a lower elevation, it's a much more likely chance that it will survive and thrive. Anyway, both species are now absent from the Arabian Peninsula. This is the first time any big cat species has been found in a state of natural mummification. Last year, the world's first mummified saber-toothed kittens, yes, those homotheres, the homotherini saber-tooths, were found in the Siberian permafrost, unless I'm mistaken for cave lions. I think they're a homotherium. Anyway, but saber-tooths are not considered big cats. They technically are cats. They just belong to a different family within Felidae, but they're still felids. They're just macrodontids. So let's see. Because they belong to different evolutionary lineages. Okay, I just described that. The mummies have been preserved for around 2,000 years, while the skeletal remains date back to nearly 5,000 years. Well, something happened. Like either I'm mistaken on the climate. Now, technically, you would have had even occasionally Caspian tigers, lions inhabiting.
Yeah, but how do you doesn't something have to be mummified initially? How do you mummify it later?
Um,
It would be already degraded.
yeah, well, I'm not sure how exactly the mummification process works, or at least with whatever's going on here. I don't know. Artificially mummified domestic cats have been discovered in Egypt many times, but natural mummified felids have not been discovered until now. The constant temperature and humidity of the cave system would have created the ideal conditions for these specimens. So let's see. What is unusual is that modern cheetahs are not known to use caves for shelter or the storage of prey. The long extinct American cheetah, more closely related to the cougar or puma, not so much the cheetah. Americanonyx tremani was understood to use caves for denning and prey storage. Is morphologically similar to the cheetahs in the cave through convergent evolution. It is thought that the mummified cheetahs could have entered the caves through slippery or steep slopes from which they could not get out. Oh. Camera traps inside the caves reveal that they are still used by wolves in the area. These are very small wolves. Arabian wolves, they're smaller than red wolves, so they reach somewhere around 50 to 70 pounds. The team thinks that these remains could provide vital clues into a future rewilding opportunity for cheetahs in the Arabian Peninsula. No, there's like barely any food over there. Don't send it there. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, like there's few Addicts antelope. It's like there has been talk also, I think, by either what was it, Arabia or Morocco, possibly reintroducing lions to the region because North Africa very recently used to have lions and it even had brown bears. But the thing is, there's just very little good quality habitat as well as prey sources for both predators. So I just don't agree with it. And also, they were mentioning maybe sending like 4 individuals. It's like you can't do that. Um, Now hopefully also with the tigers that they reintroduced to Kazakhstan recently, they will reintroduce more individuals. So anyway, gosh, that was sad. This cheetah's possibly just starved to death. Let's see. So, by popularscience.com, 1500th discovered bat species is a god of the island. What better way to kick off Bat Appreciation Month? Well, you know what? Oh, that was September? Well, that was actually nice to hear. I didn't know that there was a Bat Appreciation Month. I knew there was like an animal, I think, awareness month, which I prefer the appreciation. Because awareness, I mean, the word, because of the way it's been used in recent decades, all you think of is environmentalism. And this actually is like, there is a bat eating mosquitoes in front of my yard. I am very proud. Anyway, let's see. Pipistrellus etula is a tiny bat that lives on Bioko Island off the coast of Cameroon. So this is over towards somewhat northwestern sub-Saharan Africa. So further inland, you'll find certain gorilla populations, possibly certain bongo antelope in the region, and even small elephant populations. It's official. The world's 1500th known bat species has been discovered in Equatorial Guinea. I guess that's adjacent to Cameroon. Anyway, and as luck would have it, Pipistrellus etula's announcement is just in time for Bat Appreciation Month. Due to bats' delicate anatomy, there aren't many well-preserved bat specimens in the fossil record. There's more than it's making it out to be. They are discovered. Still, biologists estimate that bats have existed for at least 55 to 56 million years. This is about right. So this is during the late Paleocene epoch. So around 55, 56 million years ago, about 9 to 10 million years after the dinosaurs went extinct. However, only a few of those extinct species are documented, meaning that the bulk of experts' knowledge relates to present day species. Well, yeah, I mean, they're flying around and exhibiting a lot of behavior. Much of this information comes from biodiversity assessments, like a recent excursion organized by Bat Conservation International to Bioko Island, about 20 miles south of Cameroon. During the survey, surveyors, including PhD student Laura Torrent, caught multiple tiny bats that didn't match any known descriptions of the winged mammals. Subsequent review of past specimens, along with an analysis of Torrent and others, suspected a never before documented bat. Um, Achula marks the 1500th species described to science with a name that breaks away from conventional choices. I actually thought there were already 1500 species, so I'm kind of surprised. Considering that many African bats were named after researchers from elsewhere, I am delighted to name Pipistrellus etula in honor of the inhabitants of Bioko Island, the Bubi. I don't know. It's their land where this tiny bat lives. So, what better name for it than Etula? In the Bantu language, Erula means island and god of the island. Um, let's see. So, I guess that's it. Oh, it runs all October, culminating with Bat Week, and even a bat beauty contest run by the Bureau of Land Management. Dear God. Okay, that sounds concerning. I really hope they're not dressing up bats. Hope one of those vampire bats comes over and Um. Anyway, yeah, I'm thankful for bats, but so I guess it's October. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Okay. So from news.mongabay.com, rare photos capture fishing cat preying on monitor lizard in the Sundarbans. So the Sundarbans are an ecosystem located over in southern Myanmar. I believe some of it you can even find in Bangladesh. So it's just east of Northeast India. Wow. Whoa. I'm only used to seeing him go after, fish, and also documentaries tend to portray these animals as fat, domesticated ones or captive ones. Um,
They're extremely fat.
yeah. But also those were from Thailand, so maybe these guys are have a different lifestyle. Obviously, I mean,
That's a big lizard.
Yeah, this is quite extraordinary.
Someone's going to have a nice meal.
The thing I noticed about this in Darban animals, because there are tigers in these regions, and they're some of the most aggressive of any tigers in Asia. They will, the moment they catch sight of a boat with people, they come over. Um, and they try to get into the boat and eat everybody. So, I guess for a Sundarban predator, it's not surprising, but still remarkable. In July, naturalist Sumya Santra was on a trip to the Indian Sundarbans, part of the world's largest mangrove forest, when he witnessed an unusual scene. A fishing cat jumped on an adult monitor lizard, dragged it away towards some bushes. Santra's photographs of the fishing cat in action captured a rare bit of natural history. Fishing cats, Pernalurus vivarinus, are medium-sized wild cats found in the wetlands of South and Southeast Asia. Fishing cat expert Tayasa Adia said Santra's photograph may be the first documentation of the cat catching a monitor lizard. Yeah, because like it says above, usually the fishing cats, these animals weigh somewhere around 8 to 14 pounds, or a little over 6 kilograms. So the thing is that,
I
yeah.
don't know though. Well, some of them you've shown me look like they're 30-pound cats.
Okay, yeah, well, those guys, they don't count, but they're mostly going after, smaller species of reptiles, amphibians, and then definitely a wide variety of fish. But the monitor lizard, a full-grown monitor lizard, is shocking. So this is a great find. The fishing cat is known to be a top predator in wetland ecosystems. This emphasizes that the monitor lizard, a powerful reptile with a strong tail, nearly the same size as the fishing cat, is among its prey. So he decided to become a Dundee for a day. Oh wait, Is there one more? Okay. That's just the same one. So this was in Sanakalai Wildlife Sanctuary in the Indian Sundarbans. Okay, I forget. Part of a smaller part of eastern India has Sundarban mangrove forest. So there's constantly a shift in tide. So part of the day there isn't any water in certain regions, and then another part completely floods. Another ecologist who has studied fishing cats, Samrat Chakraborty, agreed that Santra's photograph is a very uncommon incident. I've studied multiple papers on fishing cats and their diet, but monitor lizards never featured on their menu. Okay, that's a first. I was expecting like I've never seen a fishing cat. Not that I've read them, but I haven't. He never said anything about that. Okay. In fact, in a 1988 paper, there is mention of fishing cats scavenging on carcass of a cow in Rajasthan, but I've never found any mention of monitor lizards.
Well, it's because it didn't catch the cow.
Yeah. Now, granted, you'd say most scientists or just people in general have never witnessed this, but or like when it comes to hunting of many wild animals, and it's not uncommon that they would probably say the same thing too. Never read it or saw it on video, but it's just funny. Anyway, Chakraborty added that fishing cats face competition for fish from animals like otters. Yeah, that is true. Which may have led this individual to opportunistically hunt the monitor lizard instead.
Wouldn't the otter just destroy the cat?
Depending on the size of the otter, yes, but yeah, they're pretty aggressive. This individual decided he wanted revenge. He's like, no, I'm bringing a revolution back to my cat people, and this is what he did. So he's, um, I'd say as long as his cat's not poached, he is going to have success in the next breeding season. The terrain of the Sundarbans is muddy and is not easy to drag a prey quickly there. An adult monitor lizard is a powerful reptile, and the fact that the fishing cat defeated it in this carnal battle showed how good hunters are. Cats can be.
It may have just discovered a new food source.
Yeah, that too. Or maybe he had a bad experience with monitor lizards prior to this incident, and he just decided to have
Murder
revenge.
one?
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't even wanna eat you.
wildlife photographer. Oh yeah. We don't know if he ate it. We just know they killed it. Wildlife photographer Sudipta uh, Chakraborty, who also photographed the same interaction as Santra that day in July, agreed that the fishing cat may have targeted the monitor lizard after days of failing to catch other prey. So, being hungry, it took a chance with the monitor lizard. This is not going to happen regularly. I mean, that is still quite shocking. I'm very happy for this fishing cat. I'm glad he got a monitor lizard. We still don't know if he ate it, but I'd say it's quite possible. Anyway, let's head over to the next article. They're not too common though. This makes it out like fishing cats are, everywhere in the Sundarbans, but now granted, there's only so much research, but there could be as few as like, 8 to 12 in the wild. Anyway, moving forward from Earth.com, let's see what's going on here. Coyote populations bounce back quickly, eco efforts. Yeah, however, these culling expeditions occur or removal efforts, as it says, yeah, coyotes tend to explode. However, it's like um, when you reintroduce wolves to a certain area, they tend to dwindle in population. The wolves just keep them in check.
I like how you originally said that.
What?
You're a coyote.
Oh, yeah, coyotes. Anyway, let's see. So, a new study from the University of Georgia shows that some efforts may not achieve lasting results. This isn't new, but let's see if something else happens. The researchers followed coyotes in South Carolina for nearly 2 decades. When they uncovered what they uncovered was predator population that can rebound quickly and settle into stable numbers even after heavy control. The study focused on the Savannah River sites. So I'm guessing, okay, Savannah River, that's in Georgia. a 78,000 hectare protected research area. So that's got to be over like 145,000 acres. Coyotes first arrived there in the mid 1980s. By the wow, it was that recent? I forget how many states have had recent occurrences with coyotes. Obviously, they're now thriving throughout the whole state. But, also, certain coyotes apparently in these regions have established their own subspecies, it appears, despite them not necessarily being native to the region. Um, but anyway, by the early 2000s, numbers had already climbed into the hundreds across the landscape. In 2010, managers launched a large-scale removal program. Let's see. For 3 years, trappers eliminated close to 474 coyotes. At first, the impact looked significant. Populations fell to just 22 coyotes per 100 square kilometers. Wow, sheesh. I forget how crowded certain areas are.
Well, they're in Houston.
Huh? This is in Georgia.
I know, but they're also, like, in the
Oh, yeah,
middle of Houston. They're
yeah,
attacking people's dogs and places.
yeah, I guess outside of Alaska, pretty much every city in, the United States has coyotes. I mean, you could probably even say most pretty much every also major city, even Canada, Mexico. Anyway, so let's see. Yet the relief was short-lived. By 2014, densities had already returned to 44 coyotes per 100 square kilometers and leveled off. Coyotes can bounce back very rapidly, obviously. That resilience now poses a challenge to anyone hoping to lower their numbers for the long term. Tracking coyotes, not simple. Okay, so let's see. So, by combining the methods, scientists pieced together 18 years of population trends. Such a long window offered insights that short term studies often miss. The data showed clear cycles of decline, rebound, and eventual stability. It also highlighted how coyotes respond not only to human intervention, but also to the broader ecosystem around them. The sharp recovery after removal raised questions. Was reproduction alone driving the rebound, or did something else play a role? Evidence pointed strongly to immigration. Come on, just say a transfer of eastern coyote genetics. Make it more interesting. Okay, we're talking about a different population of coyotes. Anyway, coyotes from surrounding areas moved.
Didn't they used to call this migration?
Yeah, yeah, this is annoying. Coyotes from even with people, they use that term. Anyway, coyotes from surrounding areas moved into to the spaces left by those removed. GPS collar studies conducted later showed that more than half of the animals in the region were transients. These individuals, seriously, come on. These individuals travel long distances, sometimes over 500 kilometers. Oh, before finding new territories. So they're having to make it dramatic. Oh, they had to travel this far. Okay. Yeah, and eat all the rabbits in the area. So happy. Such mobility makes coyote populations difficult to suppress. Killing them in one area often creates openings for others to enter. The pattern repeated quickly after removals ended, leaving managers with the reality that local actions had little effect on the larger population picture. Managing coyotes in this way also came with a steep bill. Between 2010 and 2012, removal program cost 30 between $30,000 and $50,000 each year. That price tag covered only 1% of South Carolina's land area. Expanding such efforts. Huh? Oh, I thought this was in Georgia. Whoops, wrong state. It flows through there.
Wait, did it move?
Um, what do you mean?
Did we start in one place and end up somewhere else?
Yeah, I wonder that too. Um, I believe the Savannah River might run through both states. Maybe it's a small fraction of South Carolina. Anyway, so let's see. The findings suggested that the coyote population at the Savannah River site had reached its carrying capacity. Despite temporary declines, numbers hovered around the same range before and after removals. The researchers estimate stable densities of 45 to 50 coyotes per 100 square kilometers. In other words, the landscape could support that many. Yeah, they're having a big impact on everything around there. So let's see.
So they're kind of like raccoons.
Yeah, actually, in some cases, it's people tend to just associate with raccoons as, just the little trash pandas. But the truth is that coyotes, I mean, not coyotes, raccoons really devastate many species of bird populations, native birds. Occasionally, they might even go after deer fawns. It is rare, but they can. So let's see. Okay, is there anything else? You used to have eastern wolves in this region back in like the early 1800s, late 1700s, but then they got wiped out, and then coyotes took advantage. But the wolves, you could say, practice a more like sustainable, you could say, way of hunting compared to the coyotes, but there also weren't as many of them. But anyway, this is, I'm not sure if you would say unfortunate or I don't know, it was odd, like a few of the other articles. Um, anyway, so is that that's okay, the final article. Okay, so let's see, the NewYorkPost.com. Chunk, oh, here we go. A 1,200-pound bear with a broken jaw wins Alaska's popular Fat Bear Week contest. Yay, Chunk, good for you. You did it again. But you're only 1,200 pounds? Oh, that's it? I'm, um, I'm hmm. Chunk, a towering brown bear with a broken jaw, swept the competition Tuesday in the popular Fat Bear Week contest. His first win after narrowly finishing in second place 3 previous years. Oh, anyway, the annual online competition allows viewers to follow 12 bears in Alaska's Katmai National Park and preserve on live webcams and cast ballots in a bracket-style single elimination tournament that lasts a week. Chunk, known officially as Bear 32, beat out Bear 856, who doesn't have a nickname, in the final bracket according to totals posted on the organizer's website. So there he is. So
So he's not a Kodiak.
no, he's a Kodiak. It's over, I think, in Katmai National Park, southern mainland Alaska, so north of Kodiak Island, a different, population of Kodiaks.
But he's only 1,200 pounds.
Yeah, that's their estimate. They don't know for sure, but, I've heard some contestants for Fat Bear Week, apparently none of them were there this year, or maybe it's referring to, Kodiaks only along the Brook Falls in Katmai National Park. It's a very small area, not Katmai National Park in general, but you have to remember that this is a even if you're just talking about that park, it's only a sliver of the Kodiak archipelago, which you have different Kodiak populations here and there. But um, he doesn't look that fat in this instance. He obviously has weight on, but I just thought there was a fatter picture. I think I even saw a video of him not too long ago, in the past, week or 2, where he looked like he had even more weight on. He's definitely going to be feeding on more berries, and he's still going to be fishing. Remember, it's only, the 1st of October, so, what, even a month from now, he's still going to be feeding on more fish, berries, and, like, if he can take advantage of any other maybe mollusks in the region, he's going to put on more fat. So he could get bigger. Um, see, despite his or let's see. While they do not weigh individual bears during the contest because of safety concerns, Trunk and others have had their density scanned to bolster weight estimates in the past using laser technology called LiDAR. So despite his broken jaw, he remains one of the biggest, baddest bears at Brooks River. Um, okay, so he likely hurt his jaw in a fight with another bear. The contest is wildly popular. This year attracted over 1.5 million votes. Wow, I didn't realize that many people voted. I keep thinking it's a local thing, or if you're in Alaska, pitch in your vote.
Well, it probably was a local thing that expanded.
Yeah. Um, but gosh, that is shocking. who watched the earth signs, this is referring to the bear family, gorge on a record run of fall salmon as they fished in the Brooks River about 300 miles west of Anchorage. Him? No, that's Bear 856. He seems to have better looking fur though. I wonder if he's younger. He looks clean.
He's also in the water.
Yeah, but I think he just got in. But yeah, true. It is the largest glut of salmon in the living memories of the bears or the humans who have been running the Fat Bear Week contest since 2014. According to Katmai Conservancy spokesperson Naomi Pope, let's see, that abundance decreased conflict in the river since salmon were readily available. Okay, there's Chunk. Or maybe it's just that scar gives him that weird look.
Well, he won. So
Yeah, I mean, that is what's important. In Tuesday's announcement, Katmai National Park Ranger Sarah Bruce estimated around 200,000 salmon made their way up Brooks River. Wow. Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me just in one river because there are several river systems where large numbers of salmon will flow through and of just other species.
how many is it estimated they eat?
A year? Oh, that's a good question. I think
What is it in a day?
well, I think in a day, like, they can forage up to, like, 40 pounds. So I'm trying to think,
Depends on the size of the salmon.
yeah, and how much the salmon because usually they're just ripping off of, like, the fatty skin of the salmon. Now, if they're not like, let's say a bear is not having as much access to the salmon, then yes, it's going to eat much more of the carcass. But if it has quick access, then
So
it
it's
just
eating 40 pounds of skin.
yeah, that's a lot.
That's a ton.
Yeah. Actually, did I say 40? This is 1,200-pound bear. It could be eating possibly like 50 to 60 pounds, but,
That's a lot of chewing.
that's an immense amount. Well, this must be kind of skinny salmon. I mean, they occur. Let's see. So in leaner years, toughest bears jockey for the best fishing spots at Brooks Falls, where the salmon converge in a bottleneck and leap from the river as they fight their way upstream to spawn. This year, Brooks Falls fishing spots were often empty as bears hunted up and downstream. There was even room for humans to fish. Oh, well, who is this?
He doesn't look like he gained much.
Female cub 26 walks in the grass of the Katmai National Park and Preserve in Alaska on September 13th, 2025. Okay. Well, so yeah, she was definitely born this year. And here we have Bear 609 was spotted by the National Park Service on September 12th, 2025.
I think it's posing.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that. At one point Monday, one of the Explore.org live cameras showed two people calmly casting fishing rods along the river, even as brown bears plodded upstream and downstream from them. Voters in the online contest could review before and after photos of the bears, lean at the start of summer and fattened at the end. The bears are not actually weighed, that would be too dangerous and difficult, and some fans choose their favorite based on looks or backstory.
Whoa. Okay, somebody looks fat.
That's a interesting light hit. Hold on a second. Okay, the live cameras at Brooks Falls captured the moments in 2024 when mother bear 128 Grazer's cub slipped over the waterfall and floated into the fishing spot occupied by Chunk, who attacked and injured the cub. Yeah, it is amazing, like how just instantly, like it's just a cub, and the male will just attack it. So Grazer, a female bear, was the two-time defending champion before Chunk was crowned the winner on September 30th, 2025. It's a really good looking bear, though. So Grazer fought Chunk, but the cub ultimately died. After the dramatic fight, voting fans handed Grazer a victory over Chunk. Yeah, I wouldn't really call that very. Fat Bear Week was started in 2014 as an interactive way to inform the public about brown bears, close cousins of grizzlies. Technically, the Kodiaks are just simply a different subspecies from the mainland North American grizzly bears. Um, and like genetically, they are quite distantly related. Actually, they spend summers. Oh, so yeah, I think that. Well, aside from the unfortunate thing with Razor's Cub, oh, this has been quite interesting. It's a bit odd with especially those hounds and the wolves at first, and then there was that new species of bat. A lot of bats popping up recently. Then that mysterious fish in the ocean. I think there was something that popped up. They found, oh yeah, the prehistoric penguin. That was quite interesting, but we don't know the size of it, so I'll have to take a look at that. Anyway, um, what? Oh yeah, the cheetahs. That was sad, really. But it's definitely, I guess, take a look at the what was going on at that time. So, I hope you enjoyed this stream. From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone